4 lives on the line, a week of executions in America. This week, the machinery of justice grinds on as 4 states prepare to carry out the ultimate punishment. But what does it mean to extinguish a life in the name of justice? Is it closure, retribution, or a reflection of a system grappling with its own moral compass? Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. 4 U.S. states are poised to execute inmates this week, a stark reminder of the ongoing debate surrounding capital punishment. These executions are scheduled to take place between Tuesday and Thursday, casting a shadow over the legal landscape. The states involved are Louisiana, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Florida. Each case presents a unique set of circumstances, raising complex questions about justice, culpability, and the role of the state in taking a human life. This week's events highlight the deep divisions and ethical considerations that continue to fuel the debate about capital punishment in America. Louisiana is scheduled to execute Jesse Hoffman on Tuesday. Hoffman, a 46-year-old African-American man, was convicted of kidnapping, rape, and murder in 1996. His execution marks a significant moment for the state. The method of execution will be nitrogen gas. This marks the first time nitrogen gas will be used for an execution in Louisiana. It also represents the first execution in Louisiana since 2010, ending a long period of dormancy for the state's death penalty. Arizona is scheduled to execute Aaron Gunches on Wednesday. Gunches is 53 years old and was convicted of the 2002 murder of his ex-girlfriend's former husband. The method of execution will be lethal injection. Interestingly, Gunches has expressed a desire for his execution to proceed. This unusual circumstance adds another layer of complexity to the case. Furthermore, Gunches attempted to kill a police officer during his escape, highlighting the violent nature of his past. Oklahoma is scheduled to execute Wendell Grissom on Thursday. Grissom is 57 years old and was convicted of a 2005 murder that occurred during a home burglary. The method of execution will be lethal injection. This case underscores the often brutal realities of violent crime and the consequences that follow. The execution serves as a reminder of the victims and the lasting impact of such acts on families and communities. Florida is also scheduled to execute Edward James on Thursday. James is 63 years old and was convicted of murdering a woman and killing her 8-year-old granddaughter in 1993. The method of execution will be lethal injection. The details of this crime are particularly horrific, stirring strong emotions and raising questions about the nature of evil. James lived in the victim's home, adding a layer of betrayal to the already heinous act. The United States has executed 1,613 people since the Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty. These numbers paint a stark picture of the application of capital punishment across the nation. Each execution represents a life taken and a complex legal and moral process. Oklahoma has executed 127 people, placing it among the states with the highest number of executions. Florida has executed 107 people, reflecting its long history with the death penalty. These figures highlight the regional variations in the application of capital punishment. Arizona has executed 40 people, a lower number compared to Oklahoma and Florida, but still significant. Louisiana has executed 28 people, and this week's execution will add to that total. These statistics provide a context for understanding the frequency and distribution of executions in the U.S. 6 executions have taken place in 2025 prior to this week. This number underscores the continued use of the death penalty in the United States, despite ongoing debates and challenges. The practice remains a controversial aspect of the American justice system. The death penalty is not just a legal issue, it's a moral one. It forces us to confront our deepest beliefs about justice, retribution, and the value of human life. Are we, as a society, justified in taking a life, even in response to the most heinous crimes? The arguments for and against capital punishment are complex and deeply rooted. Proponents often cite the need for retribution and the potential deterrent effect on crime. Opponents argue that it is a cruel and unusual punishment, prone to error, and disproportionately applied to marginalized communities. The use of nitrogen gas in Louisiana raises further questions about the humaneness of execution methods. Is it truly a painless and dignified way to die, or does it carry the risk of suffering and prolonged agony? These are questions that demand careful consideration and scrutiny. The case of Aaron Gunches, who expressed a desire for his execution to proceed, adds another layer of complexity. Does his willingness to die negate the moral concerns surrounding capital punishment, or does it simply highlight the complexities of individual agency and the justice system? The crimes committed by these 4 individuals are undeniably horrific, and the suffering they inflicted on their victims and their families is immeasurable. But does the death penalty truly offer closure and healing, or does it simply perpetuate a cycle of violence and retribution? The debate over capital punishment is not just about individual cases. It's about the kind of society we want to be. Do we want to be a society that values retribution above all else, or one that prioritizes rehabilitation, restorative justice, and the inherent dignity of every human being? The disproportionate application of the death penalty to marginalized communities raises serious concerns about systemic bias and inequality. Are we truly applying justice fairly and equitably, or are we perpetuating a system that punishes some more harshly than others based on their race, socioeconomic status, or other factors? The risk of executing innocent people is perhaps the most compelling argument against capital punishment. The justice system is not infallible, and mistakes can and do happen. Can we, in good conscience, support a system that carries the risk of taking an innocent life? The death penalty is a complex and multifaceted issue with no easy answers. It demands careful consideration, open dialogue, and a willingness to confront our own biases and assumptions. As we reflect on these 4 scheduled executions, let us engage in a thoughtful and informed discussion about the future of capital punishment in America. The stories of the victims, the perpetrators, and their families are all intertwined in this complex web of justice and retribution. It is crucial to remember the human cost of these decisions and to strive for a system that is both just and compassionate. The legal challenges and appeals that often accompany death penalty cases highlight the inherent complexities and uncertainties of the process. These challenges underscore the need for rigorous scrutiny and due process to ensure that justice is served fairly and accurately. The role of defense attorneys in capital cases is critical. They must navigate a complex legal landscape and advocate fiercely for their clients, even in the face of overwhelming public sentiment. Their work is essential to ensuring that the accused receive a fair trial and that their rights are protected. The impact of executions on the mental health of corrections officers and other individuals involved in the process is often overlooked. These individuals bear witness to the ultimate act of state-sanctioned violence, and the psychological toll can be significant. The international perspective on capital punishment is also important to consider. Many countries have abolished the death penalty, viewing it as a violation of human rights. The United States stands as an outlier among developed nations in its continued use of capital punishment. The debate over capital punishment is not static. It evolves over time as societal values and legal standards change. It is essential to remain informed and engaged in this ongoing conversation to ensure that our justice system reflects our highest ideals. The use of the death penalty raises fundamental questions about the role of government in our lives. What powers should the state have, and what limits should be placed on those powers to protect individual liberties and prevent abuse? The economic costs of capital punishment are also a factor to consider. Death penalty cases are often far more expensive than life imprisonment cases due to the extensive legal proceedings and appeals involved. Are these resources being used wisely, or could they be better allocated to other areas of the justice system? The search for alternative sentencing options, such as life imprisonment without parole, reflects a growing recognition that there may be other ways to hold offenders accountable and protect public safety without resorting to the death penalty. The death penalty is a deeply personal issue for many people, shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, and values. It is important to approach this topic with empathy and respect for differing viewpoints, even when those viewpoints are in conflict with our own. The scheduled executions this week serve as a stark reminder of the ongoing debate surrounding capital punishment in America. As we reflect on these cases, let us strive for a more just, compassionate, and equitable system of justice for all. The executions scheduled this week force us to confront uncomfortable truths about our justice system and our society. The debate surrounding capital punishment is far from over, and your voice matters. Educate yourself on the issues, engage in respectful dialogue with others, and contact your elected officials to express your views. Sign petitions, support organizations working for criminal justice reform, and advocate for policies that promote fairness, equality, and human dignity. Only through informed action can we hope to create a more just and compassionate world.